Good morning. Yesterday, Tuesday, at 1:30 a.m., there was an incident where a cargo ship collided with a bridge in Baltimore, Maryland. Now, this bridge collapsed upon impact, and there was vehicles that fell into the water. There were confirmed casualties, but also confirmed survivors. I wanted to come here and talk to you guys about this incident, give you my opinion, just being in the search and recovery field, and talk to you about what I thought about this incident. Let's get into it. My name is Josh Cantu, and I spent over 10 years of my life being a first responder lifeguard. And on top of that, I've spent over 3 years working with solving cold cases and working on victims that were unable to escape from a sinking vehicle. So I know the importance of being prepared in a situation like this and being able to act and react as quickly as possible, because these drivers that were on this bridge had no warning. All of a sudden, boom, the bridge collapsed and they were underwater. So I just want to showcase to you the importance of having a plan and being prepared. Now, to bring you up to speed with this incident, there was a cargo ship that was navigating the waters under the Baltimore Key Bridge in the Patapsco River. Now, this cargo ship actually lost power and was unable to navigate away from the pillar, one of the pivotal pillars that kept this bridge up. It collided with it, and the bridge, a certain section of it, collapsed instantly. The vessel, which is a Singapore-registered cargo ship nicknamed Dolly, was able to put out a mayday minutes before the impact.
We're thankful that between the mayday and the collapse that we had officials who were able to begin to stop the flow of traffic.
But there were some on the bridge.
Now, with this information, the Maryland Police Department and Transportation were able to actually close this bridge, which allowed just enough time for some of the last vehicles to get over the bridge before it was struck and collapsed. However, there was a construction crew on this bridge that was unable to evacuate it before it fell, and their vehicles and these workers fell into the water.
Is there the possibility that there was another vehicle on there other than those vehicles involved in the construction process? I think we all would have to understand, yes, that's a distinct possibility.
Now, original reports said that there was 13 people in the water, which is still unconfirmed, but they do know that 6 construction workers are missing. They are from the Bronner Brothers construction group working on the bridge fixing potholes. There's been reports of some 26-year-olds, 35-year-olds, a bunch of guys that were unable to make it off this bridge before it collapsed. And a search for them is still ongoing.
There could still be people trapped inside or potentially have died in vehicles, is that correct?
Well, the investigation is still going on to find out exactly how many people in what situation. But the thing that we do know, many of the vehicles were stopped before they got onto the bridge, which saved lives in a very, very heroic way.
Search and rescue teams have been doing all they can all day today, trying to see if they can find any survivors and bring them up and out of the water. There's been many deployed to this scenario. There was a UAV that was deployed that was able to check for survivors very quickly. Putting divers in this water is actually very dangerous because of the circumstances of this teetering bridge, the circumstances of the water temperature, and the depths, which have been reported to be above 50 feet.
Very difficult water temperatures. You have structures from the bridge that are in the water that can move with the tides and currents, making that dangerous for divers and people in the water to actually try to do recovery. And we do not want to injure any of these first responders in this recovery effort. Say thank you to all of the first responders that have come out today to assist in looking for these individuals.
So one of the reasons why I wanted to come on here and talk to you today is just to talk to you about this scenario of these vehicles falling into the water, and to give you a little bit my perspective of what would happen to the victims inside these vehicles. Now, I've done some research and some studies on vehicles entering the water. I've also done some diving in very, very cold 40-degree temperatures, so I kind of understand what would happen if you entered this water. Now, for these construction workers that were possibly sitting in their vehicles when this happened, what would happen to them is they would fall into the water. Then their vehicle, depending on where their windows are, would start to float, And then if they were unable to get out of their seatbelt or open the door or roll the windows down, their vehicle would eventually fill with water and sink. Now, from my research, if you're in a scenario where you're in a vehicle sinking and you're unable to get your window down electronically, trying to break a window mid-vehicle sinking is very, very difficult if you don't have the proper tools. Now, Doug Bishop, who's a friend of mine, he has a really, really cool United Search Corps window breaker that he was actually on live earlier this morning talking about this scenario, which I'll show here.
Douglas Bishop's an underwater search and recovery expert who finds cars and solves missing persons cases.
The dangers involved when you have low visibility, currents, and so forth, I mean, it's really never ending. It's one of the most challenging recoveries that we've seen of late.
My family, Doug, just bought one of those little hammers that you're supposed to use if your car does submerge in water. You're right.
Yes.
You bang it. Is that what people do? Is that the only way to survive? And how long does it take before it's too late?
Seconds count. It happens way quicker than you could ever imagine. The most important thing to remember is to be prepared. And when emergencies and accidents like this happen, they don't happen on a schedule. They happen in the blink of an eye when you least suspect it. So being prepared is the #1 thing that you can do. Having a window breaker like we offer at UnitedSearchCorps.org is one of the most important steps in this.
Now this window breaker is very simple to use. All you do is you poke the very end of it to the window, you press a little bit, and it has a spring-loaded kind of a point that shatters the window. Now it looks very simple to do, and it is simple to do, but if you don't have the tool, this is a very, very difficult thing to do. If you try to break the window with your elbow, with your fist, with objects in the car, the window is actually very strong. And so I just wanted to give you some pointers if you ever find yourself in this scenario, what you can do to try to escape. Now, step 1 of crashing into the water or a bridge collapsing and your vehicle falling into the water is you want to be sure to get unstuck from your seatbelt. Now, a lot of the times when your vehicle is in an impact or in a crash, your seatbelt is going to try to save you and try to stop you, and so it's going to lock up. Now, if you can't unbuckle the button, you're going to have to cut it. So that's where like a seatbelt cutter or a window breaker comes into play.
But if you don't have one and you find yourself in this situation, there's 4 letters that everyone needs to remember right now watching this, and that's SWCO. And that's seatbelt, window, children, out.
Now, when the vehicle is underwater and water is rushing in, your electrical system in your vehicle is going to stop working. There are reports that you have a few minutes before it shorts out, but most likely, realistically, you got about 30 to 60 seconds. But if you utilize that 30 to 60 seconds, you could possibly roll your windows down. And then this becomes an easy, swim to the surface, swim to shore. In 40-degree water, though, that's not going to be easy, but at least you are out of this sinking vehicle. Second thing you want to do is roll your window down or try to open the door. Now, if you wait too long for this, the window is going to be pushed against with the force of the water, and the door is going to be pushed closed with the force of the water, and you're going to have a lot harder time to do this. So act fast, and you might not even need a tool. Now, in scenarios where you have kids or family members in the water, I do suggest assessing the vehicle before you pop this window, because once the window's gone, water is going to rush in very, very fast, and the vehicle is going to sink faster than it would with the window up. So if you have kids in the car in their car seats, I would recommend jumping in the back seat, trying to get everyone ready to pop that window. And by this time, the vehicle might be 5-6 feet underwater, if not more, and you'll have to swim to the surface, which in a scenario like this at 1:30 in the morning, it's going to be very dark, very cold. And so I just give you the courage to react and to act. But the best thing you can do to honestly not be scared of a situation like this is to be prepared, to have a plan, and possibly buy a tool. And there will be a link in the description below for a tool you can purchase to be prepared. And it's a keychain. It'll go on your keys, and your keys are right there, easily accessible for you to just pull and pop.
So SWCO, seatbelt, window, children, out.
Seatbelt, window, children, out. Got it. Doug, thanks
Correct.
so much, and thanks for your courage, and thanks for coming on Prime Time.
With this being such an active and fresh incident, it is unknown if they are going to need civilians' help in searching these waterways and looking for any obstacles or vehicles down there, magneting, buoying. But do keep me in mind if this scenario does need civilians to go out there and help. Possibly we can put together some kind of team from the West Coast to go down to the East Coast and see if we can be a resource for them. The search is still ongoing, and they're trying to figure out, if anyone's unaccounted for. My heart and my sympathy does go out to these construction workers and to their families. There were at least 2 survivors that were able to get to shore and get out of the water. I really wish that all of them can be brought out of the water safely. But if that is unable to be happened, I hope that they're able to be recovered and brought out of that water, because just such a tragic incident. With that said, my name is Josh Cantu, and I am a videographer and a filmmaker that is dedicated to providing hope to families. I use my lifeguarding skills, my search and recovery skills, and my videography skills to help bring stories to you just like this. I appreciate you guys being here. Make sure to like and subscribe. It really does help me, and I will see you guys in the next video. All right, take care.
Dispatch, the whole bridge just fell down. Start, whoever, everybody. The whole bridge just collapsed.
Simple dispatch is direct. That's correct. This time. Do we know if all traffic was stopped? I can't get to the other side, sir. The bridge is down.